Okay, first things, while he's doing that. Hi, I'm David Jones. Yes, good group. So tell me, how many of you, this is your first time at Light Up Ohio? Oh my gosh, fantastic. I'm so happy you're here. This is a great event. We always have a lot of fun.
That's why we reached capacity.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, we literally, this is as many people as we can legally put in the room. How many people have had, just at any time in the past, a computer, light, animated to music display at their house? Okay, so how many have not? How many do static displays? Okay, just a few. All right. So, so you understand, largely we tend to talk about animated displays here. So hopefully that's okay. I've had a display for I think 8 or 9 years. Man, what's wrong with one of the color guns here? Jeezy. Seriously? Really? One of the colors is out?
We don't know.
Check the VGA cable, because if there's a bad pin on the cable.
Yeah, you're right about that. I've seen that happen before. Oh, there. It went to the right color there.
Well, no, give him this.
Oh, Dan just reset it. Is that it? Okay.
Have a beer or
Anyway, we'll be there right away.
That's the only projector we could find. Sorry.
I largely use LEDs in my display, AC LEDs, the kind you buy in the store. So first things first, in addition to talking about a myriad of topics, I've got a bunch of stuff to give away. So the first thing, pass this box around, and you'll need this to put other stuff in. Everybody take one out of the box and keep it. Wow.
Start flipping the VGA cable end to end.
Yeah, let's do
You have a pink truck?
He sells Mary Kay.
Pay for his lights.
It takes a real man to drive around.
I should have thought of
Everybody else get a cookie already. He gets 68 cookies. Okay. Thanks. If you don't participate in an online forum, you need to do that, just as an encouragement. It's the only way to be successful affordably and reliably and all that. It is stunning to me, the expertise and sharing that people do on these online forums. First thing I'm going to talk about today, and it isn't old, broken down, been doing this a long time guys like me and Dan that do new and creative things. It's usually the people that are new to the hobby will just suddenly say, oh, why have they been doing it like that all this time? And they'll do something new. Every year, without fail, new, fun stuff shows up. I participate on Do-It-Yourself Christmas, DIYC. Planet Christmas is the other big online forum. Both have over 10,000 members worldwide. Each has at least that many members. So if you ever want to find me, you can email me directly. I'm So my handle on DIYC is Youth Warrior, and my email is youthwarrior@yahoo.com. Again, if you want to know why, back to, when the internet was starting, imagine finding anything that anybody could ever remember for an email address when your name is David Jones, right? I mean, it's bad enough that I was in a boy band in the 1960s. So I just get flooded from that email. So everybody always asks me that. This is Ukulele Warrior is what it really stands for. So we're going to have fun. Going to talk to you about hardware and neat things, some big things, and I'm going to give away some things. So first thing. So we'll pass one of these around for those of you that aren't aware. So this again is somebody who hadn't been doing the hobby very long. Look at what we were doing when I could do something really cool. So a guy by the name of Shelby Merrick, lives down in South Carolina, said, my God, it would be cool if I could drive my Pixels wirelessly. And it would also be really cool if, I've got a particular device that's out in my yard that I wouldn't have to run cables to, and I wouldn't have to buy a $100 Pixel controller to run it. So he and a few other people worked on some software, and again, I've talked about this before, so this is an update. And they basically utilize this little thing here, which is a full computer with Wi-Fi capability that costs $2. It's called an ESP8266. And so he built this board around it and dubbed it the ESP Pixel Stick. You could drive many universes of pixels with a device that, well, you can house in a, this is how, so I'm going to pass this around, make sure this makes it back. It'll fit in a 1-inch tube. If you want to see what a 1-inch tube size is, look up here on Dan's devices. You get an idea of that. And this has been so popular that Shelby just can't deal with it, so he just sells them on Amazon. So they're $20. And I'll tell you, it's a great deal at $20. All right? But I'm going to tell you the but here in a minute. But here's the basic things about it. The neat thing about it is it's fully documented, lots of online help. If you want to run one of these, again, it's the kind of thing where, I want to create a prop that's based on pixels. You can put it anywhere. And it runs off standard Wi-Fi out of your show computer or out of your Pi or whatever. And also to that end, and whoever, I don't know how Bill's going to divvy these up, but for the second year in a row, Shelby has donated to our raffle a whole bag full of these. When I pass it around, make sure it gets to Bill. Okay? So Shelby donated $100 for the ESP Pixel sticks. Now here's the rub about the ESP. So the ESP Pixel stick is basically the Cadillac of these small wireless Pixel controllers, without a doubt. It's got a fuse on it. You can put multiple different types of power into it. You can't hook the power up wrong and blow the thing up, pretty much, although it's possible. It's got, as you can see, it's a totally manufactured, out of a factory board, very high quality. It's great, no doubt about it. And I couldn't get Shelby to tell me how many, but I'll bet you he has sold a few thousands of these, is my guess. Because they're like candy bars, bam, I want to set something up.
Dave, I have with me today 5 chips to convert the
Patterns.
to convert it to RS-232.
Oh.
I ordered way more than I did last year. I thought they were 1-ups, and I ordered 25 rather than 5.
Oh, right.
So I've got that in the instructions.
Oh,
To
cool.
use on those, if somebody wants to convert that. I mean, I ran my, 2 of my work controllers off of it last year.
Yeah, some people use these as nothing more to a bridge to their legacy protocol. So for example, you can buy a $1 module, Dan can show you what it looks like, and you can hook it onto this and wirelessly drive DMX. So with that,
Yeah,
these are less than $1. That's it. So it's in the span of less than 24 months, this incredibly versatile, super inexpensive thing occurred. Now, pull this. Just make sure it makes it back to the So, in parallel, while this was being built, a very similar technology had already been developed for those of us that are running older show protocols that aren't DMX. For example, Renard protocol, and those of us that wanted to support GECE, you know, the original pixels, you know, and so anyway, so that was going on in parallel, and the people that were developing those got together and they came up with one common piece of code. Because again, this is a little computer. For those of you that know this geek stuff, that basically turns this into an Arduino. There's a common code base that not only drives the ESP Pixel Stick, but DIY alternatives. So, here's where the second oh, by the way, I'll explain what's in the plastic bag. Everybody get a plastic bag with a little plastic thing and a business card in it. Okay. I'll explain that, what that is as we go. Well, I guess I better explain this and then I'll start passing it around. So, the only rub about the ESP Pixel Stick is, unless you have skills, we just call them that. If you break something or blow a component up on this, you're going to throw it away. Yeah, these use what are called SMD, surface mounted parts. It's hard to work on. Okay? I mean, it just is, unless you're a pro. So we want to address 2 things. One, and the other thing is, again, it isn't Shelby's job to sell this thing. He's got a real job, like, you know, and he does this on the side. And if you go to Amazon, you will see this frequently. He orders a batch of, I don't know, 100 or 200 of these, sends them to the Amazon warehouse, and when they sell out, then he orders some more. So that's all well and good, but you got to be watching it. You got to be on the forums saying, "Oh, you'll see a message. There's Pixel Sticks on Amazon again," and bam, you know, then they go. So we wanted to come up with an alternative for 2 things. One, even less expensive, even though the Pixel Stick at $20 is fantastic, and something that you can build yourself and repair yourself. So a guy by the name of Bill Porter cobbled together this board, but it was like this big, and it didn't have standard connections on it or anything. So if you're out and about in the electronics world and you see things, I hack away at boards. If I put my logo on things, it'll say Pops Electronics on the back. But I came up with something I call the Pixel Pops controller. So it does it's basically, functionally, it's identical to the Pixel Stick. Exact same ESP module, runs the exact same code. Because these boards that you buy are just passive carrier boards for that ESP. They're there to provide connections and power to the ESP. The ESP does all the real work. So, so I came up with 2 versions of these. Nope, that's not it.
One, it's in my trailer.
There they are. Oh, yeah, you got to completed one?
Yeah, trailer.
Oh, that's right, I saw that earlier.
It's in the trailer, it's between two order boxes. The tray. the clear
Yeah,
tray.
oh, yeah. Dan, do you care if we pass this? Okay.
There's no adrenal on it.
Yeah, there's no ESP one. So, so this is how big it is. It's about 2/3 the size of an ESP carrier.
There's an ESP in there as well. In the same tray.
Yeah, I've got them too.
That's version,
here.
that's version 1.
Oh, that's soldered.
I can solder on.
Yeah, I saw that.
You can pass
Good
it.
thing I didn't, no, I've got one in here, I'll dig it out. So start passing this around. So this is the original Pixel Pops controller. Now it's completely analogous to the Pixel Stick in that you can plug your ESP module in this and then connect to this board to program this. And by the way, the programmer to program these things, they cost $2. And you need a USB cable and a computer. The programmer costs $2. So, pass that, and then here's what the board looks like before you put components on. That's 3 of them. So, I try to always have these available for people. Well, let's go on. So, after I did this one, a lot of people start saying, hey, listen, I'm putting out dozens of these. I'm not going to program this module on here. I'm going to buy a dedicated programmer and do them in bulk. And then I can pre-program it, and if I have a failure, I can replace them. So I said, well, that means there's a whole bunch of components on the Pixel Pops that I don't need. So I pulled them out and made the Pixel Pops tiny. It's exactly the same functionality, you just can't program your ESP module on the board. So, 60s, how many people, Bill, today?
65, let's say.
Okay, so I'm going to pass around the room, and then I'll divvy up the extras later for anybody who wants them. So, these are Pixel Pops tiny boards. It's the parts, you can get the parts for under $3. And these ESP 8266 modules, you buy them off AliExpress, they're $2. This is how they come from the circuit board house. There's actually 16 of them here. So you just snap these apart. And so for the first go around the room, everybody snap yourself off a couple Pixel Pop Tinies. And they're yours. Put them in your plastic bag. Again, one of the design characteristics of this is that the Pixel Pops controllers would fit, again, in a 1-inch piece of conduit that you can get at Lowe's cheap. So let me just stop here before I change gears. So, any questions about these Pixel sticks, as they're generally called, controllers?
Do you have a webpage that tells you how to put it together?
Yes.
That's a good question.
Do you have like a page that'll tell you how to assemble it?
Okay, so there is I wrote a very extensive wiki on this. I mean, it's multi-screen pages. It's got 4 different sources for the bill of materials, that's your parts. It's got links to all, even to tell you how to program the ESP8266, explains how to wire it. By the way, these support 5 and 12 volt pixels. So, for example, one of these is for 5 volt pixels, one of these is for 12. The reason I can tell just by looking at that is this one's got these 2 voltage regulators on it, and when you're running 5 volt pixels, you don't need to put that part on it. So depending on the voltage pixels you run, you don't even need to build the full VLM. So, oh yeah, this is really well documented, and all the software is open source. So here's the point. Large communities supporting these, if somebody gets hit by a bus, the thing's not going to die with them. Not like proprietary designs. So, did you
Did he tell you where?
Yeah.
Tell you where this extensive?
Raise your hand, ask it, yeah.
If you're active on one of the forums and you ask that question, somebody will put it together for you. There's some people that just love to fire up their iron and go. It's the truth. Yes.
So did you tell him?
Oh, wait, stop. Just a moment. I'm sorry. Who's talking? Is there a question over there? Okay.
Did you tell us where that mega manual is?
Come up and see me in the breakout, and I'll show you how to get to the wiki.
Okay, thank you.
What's the website? You said you get the parts.
If you go to the wiki, it's got the bill of materials. Everything that you need to know about this is in the wiki. And then if you get stuck, youthwarrior.yahoo.com. All right. Anybody have any of these? Yep. Only one?
I converted mine to RGB last year.
Ah, good for you. So, these are, quote, really big lights. There was a young man, did a Kickstarter campaign, came up with this idea. Inside, it's, I think it's composed of 4 or 5 parts. So this is what's inside. This is a milk jug. It's got a weep hole in it. It's got C9 LED bulb. So if you buy these in the stores or online, this is how it comes. The neat thing is, again, some clever people within the groups got to looking at these and going, well, that's awesome, especially with these translucent globes, because they come in colors. Colors aren't the interesting thing. The point is, these translucent ones make them any color you want with a pixel, right?
Right.
So, this thing is nothing more than, this is just a standard lighting cord, okay? Never had this one before. They need somebody with stronger hands than me. I know.
I got blisters.
You can do it! So while he's doing that, yeah, no, the hook doesn't come off. You got to squeeze this thing down. See these nubs here? This thing twists 90 degrees or twist it back down. Okay. I just want to show you what the inside of a standard one looks like, and then we'll get to the if you go online, you can find videos on this. They work really cool, and it's one of those rare opportunities to take an off-the-shelf product and totally turn it into something for our hobby, really inexpensively. So people have done. Oh, thank you very much. Oh yeah, I gotta have that. So as you can see, this is just a standard thing, and again, you can come up, and breaks. This little piece just twists off. The only thing you need a tool for is this white piece here. It's got 3 Phillips head screws, and then this whole white piece pops out. That's it. That's the whole assembly. So people got to looking at this, and the first go around, somebody said, "Holy cow!" Again, this is where, these pixels that we all use now, like these bullet pixels, these weren't invented for the Christmas lighting hobby, if you aren't aware of that. This is what powers all the big billboards, beautiful, super bright billboards that you see around the world now. That's what, that's called a pixel because it's like a pixel on a TV. So it's one. And then, of course, it can be any color, and that's how we get what looks like pictures and videos. So that's the first thing. So our hobby leverages the mass production of these to get these at a very affordable price. So there's now another industry that's come into being that is creating something that we can leverage. Oh, here we go. So one of the things that you will now see, if you look out there, I thought I had one of these loose. Here it is.
The very bottom.
Yeah, of course. Okay, see this? This is a Pixel module. So it's got a Pixel chip in it, it's been waterproofed, it's got standard electrical connectors on it. And now this is yet another thing that we can leverage, so this is a little point light, Pixel light. These are used in amusement park rides. All the amusement park operators are getting rid of their, can you imagine the energy draw in some of those rides using incandescent bulbs? And the power savings, just this chip, I bet you these, in one season, I'll bet you $1, these pay for themselves. Right? Well, you know, one party season. So they make different versions of these. These are the ones I selected, and I'll show you why in a second. So the actual emitters in here, this one's got 2, 4, 6. This has got 9, what are known as 50/50 LEDs. Plenty enough to illuminate this globe. $2. $2. You can't buy a replacement. You can't buy that. That's $1. That thing, right? And it doesn't have a Pixel controller in it, for crying out loud. So, if you remember this is the one that's straight out of the store. This clipped into here, right? So the first guy that did this and documented it, guy out of California online, he's known as Plasma Drive, and he was on the Great Christmas Light Fight, his show was. He said, that's awesome. He knew about those. So he took this, he cut this piece off. It's real simple, especially if you have a Dremel tool, you just go zip, it's a 5-second operation, or you can clip it off with nippers. So he took this standoff off, and you end up with this nice flat piece. And guess what fits in there without anything, and you put it together with your hands? That module. That module comes with connectors already on it, and here they are. They fit through the holes that are already in there. If you don't like these connectors, come on, put your own. Now, I try to do things as inexpensively as I can. You can go to the online vendors, again on AliExpress, and custom order these and have custom lengths put on these wires and custom connectors. But you'll take this cost from $2 to $4. I'm fine leaving these JST connectors on here, squirting dielectric grease in there. They'll never short out. Certainly not during the lighting season. So again, I talked about this. And you want to know, some people are just discovering these guys. I think they're unbelievably cool for the money. And then for what it's worth, before I forget, if anybody, I brought 20 extras of these with me today. And if anybody wants to buy any from me, they're $2. Like I said, they're not something to make money. They're just excess to my needs. So people have come up with a bunch of creative things. Some people, depending on how you're mounting it, these were originally manufactured where the whole thing could be wet inside. That's a personal decision. If you don't want it to be all wet inside, you can buy a standard electrical connector and bring out, these are your basic pig, that you see them from all the vendors, pigtails. That's one modification that somebody did. Now we're going to get into the really cool stuff. So, if you're going to hang these from your tree, Exactly. So here's what's going on. So some people want to say, well, those little amusement park lights are cool, but I've got thousands of bullet pixels. And I want to standardize on these, and I don't want to buy anything new. Okay, that's great. So how can I put bullet pixels in here? So, some real creative people have done some interesting things. First things they've done is, so again, that one I'm passing around in mine, you know, they're set up to use the built-in hook and hang it like this, right? What if I want to create a row of pathway lights along my driveway with these, or something like that, right? So, you can either buy these, or contract somebody with a 3D printer, or 3D print them yourselves, but a whole bunch of adapters have been designed, and I'll be... I've got to find something. I've got something laying somewhere. Oh, here it is. There we go. So, there have been a bunch of creative designs done to adapt these, what are known as RVLs, really big lights, in interesting ways. One is, hey, I want to be able to mount these, you know, like this. And I want to do it as inexpensive as possible. I want to buy lengths of rebar, pound them into the ground, and just drop the light on. So this is a 3D printed piece of plastic that replaces this. Notice how this has got 3 little hooks on it, and they twist it, they hold on. This has got those in it. It's even got a set screw to anchor the light against here. So you could again, and the documentation to print this or do this, it's all online, freely available. Or something I'm going to tell you about here in a second, you can order them from him. So that's one neat adaptation. So let's say you want to do some bullet pixels in here instead of, you know, the little amusement park light. This. So, again, this is not the right length. This is standard. Who knows? This is Audience Interactive time. PVC pipe, right? It's like $1 for a 10-foot piece of this. You know, enough to do gobs of these. So somebody looked at this and went, hey! Oh! Cut it off. Put this, glue this adapter on. And these fit right in it. How about them apples? Cool, huh? So, you end up down here, of course. Totally adapted. So you can use bullet pixels regardless of whether you're going this way or this way with it. So, this is available. And this has gone through a few iterations of design. Basically, as soon as I get my pixel out here. I do know that. So that's a cap that slides over the end of PVC. He also has a design, that's these. He also has a design where they slide inside the PVC, that's this one. You'll see the difference if you come and look at these. And let's say you don't want the PVC pipe at all. Okay. He's got a design where the PVC pipe piece is built into the adapter. Done. Now, the thing about these is they have two, A, use bullet pixels, B, you don't have to do any modification to the RBL. And the good thing is, this whole bag of goodies goes, Bill's not in the room? No. This goes in the raffle. Somebody wants something to hold that. So there's what a completed bullet pixel version looks like. Pretty neat, eh? Nice, neat. Again, just depending on your style. So, these bullet pixel adapters all come from a guy. His business is called All Layered Up 3D. His business card is in your plastic bag. And a Light Up Ohio discount coupon for 15% is in there. And if there's something you want that you don't see in his Etsy store, message him. All right? Because like every adapter I showed you, he doesn't have up in his store. And if you have an idea for something, ask him. All right? He's very clever, very fast. He's got multiple printers. And I think his stuff's super high quality, and you're going to see other things that he's got here in a minute. So, any questions about really big lights? Yes?
Where do you buy the actual bulbs for the lights themselves?
These?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal with these. They're typically only seasonal. Right now, they've stopped production. I think it's temporary. Nobody knows what's going on behind the scenes. We know for a fact there's 1,500 of these translucent ones sitting in a warehouse, and somebody's going to start clearing them out. You better be active in an online forum if you want to get these, because if they don't re-enter production, these are going to be like rare blow molds, and they're going to go from costing $5 to $8 to cost, to what market will bear for these. Mark my words. Because they're totally unique, right? Especially if they end up unique in a period of time. It'll be the kind of thing that you'll have and nobody else will have. Split.
Home Depot was the retailer for them.
Was.
You walk up.
Yeah, where we all made out was after last Christmas, Home Depot cleared theirs. They usually sell for $10. They had a sale for $4 on them.
Yeah, and I missed that.
So I think what happened is Home Depot didn't reorder for next Christmas, and the supplier didn't know what to do about it. So he's figuring it out.
Question.
I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
These lights,
Yeah.
what's the protocol?
WS 8211.
2011.
I mean, 20, yes, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, but you do have to watch, because if you're shopping for them online, there are some other protocols.
Well, they're the ones that use the quote UCS chip, but that's just a clone of the the main point is it's a 3-wire pixel.
And I had trouble when I ordered mine winter before last. I ordered from Amazon, and the company that I ordered them from went out of business. They didn't supply, so I went around and eventually found a substitute.
Good.
They weren't real.
That is one, that's a good point. I will bring up one thing. When you're buying specialized lighting elements like this, buy what you think you're going to need. Don't buy 5 and say I'm going to buy 50 more in a month. It's not the nature of this business. Again, we're leveraging stuff that's been built for something else. And if some factory in China decides, we're going to make this change because that's what the real intent of this thing is. So you better buy your needs when you need them.
And I got an extra 20.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
Thank you. Dan's going to talk more about this topic. Well, I know it's in here. just real quick, this is a board I designed because there's a fellow in Florida named Chris Ward. He supplies he's like the cheapest mean wheel power supply dealer in the United States, least expensive. Just runs it out of his house, gives people great value, and he came to me and said, hey, there's these Falcon power distribution boards and distribution boards and these other things. He goes, but I'm not going to sell anything that I haven't tested. He has a $1,500 piece of diagnostic equipment that puts loads of any stuff, amperage and voltage to anything. So he said, these other boards, if you actually run them to what the people say they'll run to, they'll melt. A connector pin will melt or something like that. And to that end, so I did my first board. I designed this board. And it's like a Falcon distributor. You know, it's got 1 power input and 4 power outputs, and they're all fused. And we put it on his tester, and it burned up. Oh, that's interesting. And I'll also tell you the interesting thing is, the issue with these is if you run lower power items. In other words, it's not what you would think. This board much easier handles 12, 24, or 36 volts than it does 5. The actual acid test for this. Oh, and the other thing Chris didn't want is he didn't want to see a lot of power drop just through the splitter. So that's Rev 1, failed. Rev 2. So notice it's bigger. And there's a big change on the input connectors. And there was a fundamental design in the board, and I can tell you later what I did, but it's still power in, or powers out that are fused. And it's got some indicator LEDs, and that's just noise. And so we put this on his tester, and it passed. And again, there's a wiki on this. If you go to Chris's website, which is Holiday Lighting, by the way, you just do www.holiday.lighting and you get this page, not .com. And the full load test is posted about this board. And I'll just tell you that the interesting thing is, the trick is you actually want a bigger board, because what happens is when you put a lot of power through something, it's a matter of getting rid of the heat. You can't design it to say, oh, that connector says it'll support 20 amps or 10 amps. That is almost meaningless. There's other factors. So, Chris paid for prototypes to be built of this and tested and, run them to the edge. And so I just want you to be aware that that board's out there. Notice on the final board, there's one more fused block and some little connectors. These are for things that just don't, they're called accessories that don't pull much power. Like a little fan or a voltmeter. One of those little tiny voltmeters. And, like this right here. Exactly. So there's the bare board. There's one that's built up. This switch doesn't turn the board on and off. It simply turns these status LEDs on and off. And the point is, if an LED's on, it'll tell you that power's going through the fuse, and that's what you know. And to that end, I'll take it out later. One of these full kits is also going in the raffle from Chris. For those of you that have dealt with pixels any amount of time, if you haven't seen these, this is another thing that Chris sells. Again, these are mine. I would like them back. I'll pass these around. On each of these boards, please don't bust these apart, are little tiny circuit boards. And they're made to help you easily splice pixels together. It's just that simple. And you can look at all the words here, and if you want the slides, I don't know why it's just not pulled down for it.
No, it's down.
No, it's down. Well, it needs to be aimed different. But so the point is, if you have a bad pixel, you cut them out. How do you splice the new pixel in? Well, this just makes it easy. You get your wires, you strip them out, soldered up, put shrink wrap over it, bam, you're done. and it can also be used as a power tap injector. So if you want to do power injection at some place other than the ends of your string, this is a real easy way to do it. They're very inexpensive. You get a whole pack, you get a whole plate of those for a few bucks. You can't beat it. Again, just something that somebody in the hobby came up with and said, isn't this great? I don't have a picture of it. I forgot to mention that. I don't think it's worth the money because it's about the same price. But the amusement park little light, some folks wanted to DIY it even more than that. There it is. Go ahead and pass that around. That's essentially the power, that's essentially the lighting module. And believe it or not, if you, again, if you just take this whole white thing out, that little white LED thing will fit exactly in this cavity for this, the green part here. So if you want to get your soldering iron out and figure all that out, that's another option. And these are, given how much just the really big light costs in and of itself, I don't know if too many people are going to do that. Oh, here it is. So Bill, this is, these are two more raffle items from Holiday Lighting and from 3D Layered Up.
It's similar to doing this. What you already got.
Any questions about those last two things?
David, you got about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know, I'm watching. Thank you. I don't know if any of you work in IT. I do. This little tiny power supply can provide 780 watts of 12-volt power. Those of you that care about these things, that's a lot. I don't pay a penny for these. They come out of retired servers. And you'd be surprised what you can scrounge that's useful. So these are in use in the RC lithium battery charging groups. And these are also very powerful people setting up Bitcoin mining operations. But so it's a really good power supply. Again, you can't beat it for the money. The rub though is they put this just big edge connector on it. I mean, how do you hook up to that, right? So again, I've got a room full of these that I've scrounged, and so I designed this little board. You just plug this board in, and like these power supplies, for example, when you plug them into power, they don't turn on. These server power supplies, they don't turn on. You have to do some. You have to connect some wires on the back here. So this board does all that, and then I can just throw this switch, and the fan's powered up, and that tells you that the big 12-volt power is on. So again, just something that some of you may or may not have interest in, and I just wanted to have that out here for you. "3D Layered." Again, the guy that, okay, pull out your plastic bag and pull out those two little plastic things that came in there. Okay, what's this? What's this? Come on. Mastroyo. Yay, Mastroyo pixel strips.
There's only one thing in the back.
Only one.
You said-
Yeah, well, the plastic thing. Yeah, it's either white or red or blue.
Okay.
Okay, so, I can. So,
We love those strips.
so here's the thing about these. If you get into these, especially in a mega tree, you're going to end up inserting hundreds, potentially thousands of these, right? So, everybody got something from 3D Layered Up. That's a pixel pusher. To save your fingers. It's for doing bullet pixel insertions.
Grown man,
Only bullet?
real man.
So it gives you a nice powerful pushing platform on your bullet. He sells them in 3 sizes based on what you're inserting them into.
That's sweet.
And then he sells these. So you can assembly align your insertion. You simply bolt this, you simply screw this to a piece of wood. It's designed to just keep sliding your pixel strip through there. And you go, now square node pixels, you can just do with your thumb. Bullets, the tool will save your fingers.
Real man would do it by his,
Yeah. I push mine in with my forehead. So he sells this piece, this jig, which is really cool, in 3 different lengths. Here's a short length, here's a long length. And he sells pushers for both bullet pixels and again, if you want to just be able to grab something and go like this instead of wearing your thumb out, and for square node pixels. So this is a full set of his tools in here, and this goes in the raffle today. Again, I want to just bring up, the picture here. At any rate, you've got his card, that's all you need. The point is, this guy's really creative. I think the quality of his stuff is fantastic and very responsive, and he'll design anything that you think you might need. Okay, each year Dave Hackerell donates stuff to our group. Dave, I would just say, he comes up with stuff nobody else comes up with. He tends to come up with niche products to fix certain issues, connectivity things you may have. He's got all kinds of interesting stuff in his store. You're just going to have to go look at it. So this year, he wanted to point out, so let's say you run DMX. You want to do the wireless thing. Remember I said you can take an ESP Pixel and add that other little board to it. Well, they just combine that all into one. So, and he has donated a set of 3 of these. 1 is already built, 2 are still in kit form. So basically, if you're running DMX, you can drive some stuff wirelessly if you want. So again, this will go whenever Bill returns. Hey, if you would let Bill sit in my seat.
You're getting them up, so I figured it's okay. You're just hanging. All right. You got a second.
You give that to Bill.
Somebody's seen a need for it.
And, oh, I know, there was one more thing I wanted to show you. So, I had hoped to have a functioning P5 display here today. 2.5 weeks ago, I had the ultimate tragedy happen in that my hard drive died.
You're an IT, right?
And my backup... I'm an engineer at Hewlett Packard. And 2 years ago, they told us we didn't need to use our local USB backup drives. Right? We had this wonderful thing called Microsoft OneDrive.
Yep, OneDrive.
So, and guess what? I'm to recover. Drag and drop recover. We'll ship you new things. Oh my God. So I lost almost 2 years of work.
Did you learn about it?
Oh, not to believe my own corporate IT? Yes. And so I immediately went out, and I've got lots of terabyte drives now. But the real point of the story is, and by the way, this is half the cost, most of the quote. So I'm having to gradually. So my company's got to take care of an $800 drive recovery service. They sent my drive away. They tape apart, pull the platters out, put them in another drive and recover your data. $800. We got it all. The drive just quit working. It wasn't destroyed. Oh, they just don't crash. It's very seldom that your media gets destroyed. But for anybody who wants to see one, and did anybody bring a P10 panel of anything to show off today? Oh, shoot. So this is a P5 panel. If you don't know the difference, people build these matrices out of this. This is the next generation in that it's twice the density. So like if you're doing animations and things, there's online videos that show side by side. It's pretty freaking impressive. And if you play your cards right, you gotta watch the vendors, but you can get these on sale for not much more now than a P10 panel. So, I mean, yeah, this is called a P5.
Explain the difference between 5 and 10.
Millimeters between them.
Correct. I mean, a lot of people might not know what the difference is.
Yeah, so, okay, so this is again, remember how I said all these pixels are, result of basically the advertising industry? So you'll see big, beautiful billboards out there that are made out of bullet pixels and scoreboards and everything now. And every once in a while, you'll drive by a billboard and you'll be like, it looks like a jumbo high-definition TV screen. They're made out of these things. The first mass generation, and by the way, you'll see P5, 6, 7, 8, P10, P5, P10 is basically describes how many, so each one of these little things you see is a pixel, right? And the P10, there's so many pixels this way and so many pixels this way. The 10 also tells you that it's this particular, probably 16 by 9, ratio module. You can just daisy chain these into whatever you want. So this next generation module, they're basically making the resolution finer. So that's the difference. So if you want to build a matrix and you haven't built one yet, my advice is you build one out of P5s. It doesn't cost you that much more because everything else is pretty much the same, cost-wise. In terms of the computer you're going to buy to drive this. And again, you only want to buy this stuff, in my opinion. You either got to buy it during the pre-sales events that all the vendors do, or you're going to buy it yourself on AliExpress. At least if you want to keep it affordable. So like where I paid $18 or $15 for this panel, if you just go buy from some electronics place online, or Amazon, they'll charge you $30 for this one. Yeah.
A couple years ago, Jerry Plex said that when you buy those panels, buy more than you need, because if your panel goes out and you try to buy another one later on, the color tone may not be the exact same. So it's good to have spares of those on the batch you buy it first.
Again, that's not bad advice. And I finished 1 minute early. Thank you very, very much.